Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willow Journals. Welcome back to my channel. I have a junk journal with me episode working in my reading journal, and today I will be documenting two books that I read. The first one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The second one is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and I'm not going to be able to say this author's name correctly, but Oshikazu Kawaguchi. So that one's a Japanese book that has been translated, I believe. So for Malibu Rising, let me just talk about that one first. I printed out the book cover for this one. The other one, I took a photo of it at the library. Both of these books I read as library books, and I added a photo of some palm trees and a sunset here in Bowen because I thought that sky with the purple and the pink, that always reminds me of a Malibu skyline. So I just did that to decorate. And the ocean, there's surfing in this book, so that kind of ties in with that whole theme as well. For the Before the Coffee Gets Cold book, I added some clocks and some watches down the bottom, these stickers, because it's a sort of time travel centered book, and time clocks, they feature in this setting, so that's how I decorated that. Nice and simple, but I like those little touches that line up with the themes of the book. So let's start off with Malibu Rising. Why I read it is because it's one of those best current books to read, where you go to the bookcase. You go to a bookshop and there's the bookcase with all the top 10 or 20 books to read, and it's one of those books on the shelves. Whenever I went, I would see it. One of those sort of popular books. And because I'm in a stage where I am trying to read widely, read broadly, read different genres, and read bestsellers, read books that are well known for lots of people liking them, that's what I'm trying to get to, because I assume that, these must be good books then. There's got to be something worth reading in these books. So I'll often read them no matter what genre it is, just for the sake of, this must be worth my time to read it then. You can't always trust that, of course. And this is one of those books where I thought it would be amazing. I got it just before the school holidays, so that my plan was to read it during the school holidays, and my hope was that when I had that more time, I would just be able to read this book in one long go, if that makes sense. So not in one day necessarily, but over the course of this week of holidays, just to read this book on the whole time. And I thought it would be a page turner. I was really hoping it was going to be a page turner, a thrilling read, but no, it was such a letdown. Oh my gosh. I really struggled with the writing style, first of all. There was almost all telling, no showing. Yes, so I wasn't in the book. I couldn't see it and live it and breathe it. It was a lot of telling, just like a narrator telling the story. But on top of that, I just couldn't care less about this type of world. It was like a Hollywood world of celebrities and their lifestyles, and I just was not interested at all. The characters, the main characters, this family, it should have been engaging. I just didn't really care about any of the characters either, unfortunately. I really want to love every book I read. The context, the setting, the storyline, the plot, the characters, I just was so bored. Oh my goodness. But it had a great hook. The blurb said something, okay, I'm going to spoil everything, the hook was, there's a fire at the end of the book. There's going to be a fire where things go down, secrets are revealed, and there's a fire, and I'm like, okay, wow, what's this fire all about? Who started this fire? Why? What happens because of this fire? What secrets are revealed? That kept me going. But it was so just, all the secrets were revealed before the fire anyway. Like we as the audience knew, as the reader knew what the secrets were. And it was more just that the siblings, the story centers around these siblings. The siblings would find out the secrets. But it's such a letdown when they find out. It was like, who cares? Because we already knew the secrets. I wanted to discover the secrets. Like, I thought there would be a twist or something with the secrets. No, the whole time we know the secrets. It's just that the siblings don't. And I guess if you really cared about the siblings, obviously you would care about them finding out. But I was like, nah. How it played out was just, I couldn't care less. And then the fire, the biggest hook of the entire book. I'm like, okay, this is so boring, but I'm going to keep reading because I need to find out about this fire. It was just an accident. The fire was just an accident. It had no consequences for any character development. It didn't move the story forward whatsoever. It had no consequences in the story. No one got hurt. In the main characters' lives, no one cared. No one cared about the house. You know, I came up with a better ending. This would have been predictable, of course, but at least it would have made narrative sense and had consequences. I thought the main character, she might have burnt the house down as a statement of, well, I'm saying goodbye to this life and walking into a new life. And I thought, okay, that would have been completely predictable, but at least that made narrative sense. No, it was just an accident. That is just so... Okay, if you're going to have a fire, but don't make that your hook of your book. Anyway, I saw so many problems with this book. I finished it and the first thing I literally said out loud, that was so boring. It was such a waste of my time. But worth it in that I got to learn what not to do, what didn't work for me. And it's all subjective, okay? It is very subjective. People love this book. I read reviews afterwards because I'm like, what did people get out of this? I need to find out. So I read reviews and people were saying that they connected so well with each of the siblings, that they really enjoyed the family life. And yeah, you know, if you got that out of it, I can see how you did that. I can get that. And I'm so glad that you got that out of it because that is wonderful. For me, I did not connect with these characters. I found them a bit shallow, a bit superficial, cliche. I've heard these stories before, you know, the older sister who takes responsibility for her siblings and who self-sacrifices, and it's about her story, about how she learns to, you know, prioritize herself. We've heard that before. Anyway. But if you really connected with that, I'm glad, and that's wonderful, and I'm so glad because there's a book for everyone. It might not be for me, but there's a book for you, and I'm so glad. All credit to the author for writing this book and for doing this. And, you know, I don't want to ever trash on any book. It's just not for me, you know. And I did get 2 quotes out of it that I really enjoyed. One of them was, she had a hard time reconciling the facts of her life with the truth of it. I resonate with that because I have a hard time with that too. Like with my age, I do not feel 37. I feel 27. In fact, a lot of the time I feel 17. And people say I look 17. And I have a hard time reconciling the facts of how I live. You know, I'm my own boss. I live a creative life. But I often feel pressure and expectation to live with a 9-to-5 job where, you know, you work for someone else. And I often feel pressure to live a more conventional life and to act my age and all that kind of thing. So that's kind of a hard thing in my life that I have a hard time with. So I really related to that sentence. It put words to how I feel about my own life. And another sentence near the end, this one was something that really lines up with me, with my core beliefs. Letting people love and care for you is part of how you love and care for them. Yes. So this main character, she was always giving to other people. She had to learn to let people care for her too. And that was something that she could be loving to her siblings. She could love them by letting them love her. And I'm so with that. I'm on board with that. So yes, I got something out of it. And I don't know. It's just not a book for me. Can I now share a wonderful book. I only gave this book 1 star, by the way. My only book that I've given 1 star to. So this other book though, oh my gosh, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, one of my favourite books of the year. 4 stars, loved it. So good. It was one of the most surprising books of the year. Had no idea what I was getting into, just saw it on the bookshelf, knew it was one of those books that was on the best reads of 2022 or whatever. Got it, and it was wonderful. It was such a delightful read. It was just really, really kind of cozy, very delightful, kind of very different writing style, I guess, that Japanese writing context. It's set in Japan. It's sort of, very unique, but I found it very subtle, very understated, and that's kind of what helped make it so tender. It was very moving, very heart moving. I would find myself tearing up when I had no idea that was going to happen because of the subtle, understated writing. And it just kind of crept up on me, and I was like, oh, this is emotional. Like, where did this come from? Because it was just so written, so understated, and so simply. It's a very simple read, very easy to read, very quick read. You could read it very quickly in one day. And I know I read reviews as well. Other people found it too simple, too plain, and where I found it subtle writing, other people found it very, very hitting over yourself with the head type of writing. And I can see that too. One person said it was kind of like reading a play, and yeah, I can see that as well. It's a very different writing style. Like, I don't even really have words for it because it's so different to what I'm used to, but I liked it. I can see though how another person might not like it, but I just found it so beautiful. It's 4 short stories in the one book, all about this cafe where you can drink a coffee and travel back in time. And it's all about these 4 characters who have this need, and that's why they're traveling back in time, so they can meet a person and tell them something or have them hear something or whatever it is. The catch is they can't change anything. Nothing will change when they go back in time, so that everything will still happen exactly the way it did. But what I love about this book, again, because it lines up with one of my core beliefs, is it's all about perspective, all about how you see the world. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And I'll just read out this full quote that sums it up perfectly from the book. No matter what difficulties people face, they will always have the strength to overcome them. It just takes heart. And what this story showed through the 4 stories, this book showed through the 4 stories, was circumstances didn't have to change for these people. These people were miserable, and they wanted to go back in time, and they wanted things to change. And even though things didn't change, they still wanted to go back in time. And when they came back, they weren't miserable anymore. Basically because when they went back in time, they learned something. They found some extra information. So even though things didn't change, that extra information or that extra conversation that they could have changed their perspective. It changed how they saw things. And so when they came back to the present, nothing changed. The physical situation didn't change. The circumstances didn't change. But now that they had this extra bit of insight, information, their whole way of seeing changed, their perspective changed, and they had a change of heart. And that changed their attitude, that changed their behaviour, which changed their lives. And what the chair did, what going back in time did, that changed the people's hearts. And how did their lives change? How did their hearts change? By having a different perspective. That's all it takes. All it takes. That one thing is just to change perspective. 2 people can go through the horrible circumstance. One can come out bitter and resentful. The other can come out compassionate, full of kindness and justice, working for helping others. And what is the difference? Perspective. That's the only thing. The circumstances are completely the same. It's just the perspective. And if we could somehow give people that perspective so that they can come out kind rather than bitter, compassionate rather than vengeful. I don't know if can we bottle that? Can we give that away freely? Because that would just solve so many things in the world. I'll give one example. So one lady in the book, spoilers, she was going to marry this guy, but the guy left, and he travelled overseas to pursue his career, and she thought she was going to get married to him. So she really wanted to go back in time to say everything she needed to say to him in case he might stay. Of course, that couldn't happen, but she still wanted to give it a go anyway, to say how she really felt so that he would stay or whatever. She went back in time. She didn't say what she wanted to say, but what happened was, because she was left with all these questions, she was like, why? What happened? What went wrong? Why did he leave? What, went back in time. She didn't say everything that she wanted to say. She was too scared, but she stayed longer, or something happened where in this version of events, she heard the guy go to the counter and say, yeah, I really loved her too, or something like that. And that changed everything, because she thought, was it all a joke? I'm probably getting all this wrong, but was it all a joke? Did he never love me? What happened? Blah, blah, blah. Or why did he leave? But he was saying, no, I loved her. And like, I think he was saying something like, and I'll come back for her. I'll come back for her in 5-10 years. If she still loves me, I'll come back for her or something. And I don't know if they ended up together in the end. We don't know that, I don't think. I'm not sure, but it leaves that possibility open. And it's just that one bit of information where she found out, oh, he actually did love her, where it changed her. She went from bitter and sad and miserable and questioning and confused to, okay, all good. And just that one simple thing, that one simple overheard sentence changed everything for her. Like, how amazing. In our life, one sentence, one conversation, one something can change everything. And it's all perspective. I don't know, I'm running out of time here, but I love it. I love what I want to say. We're probably going to go black screen, but I just want to say one more thing about this book. In that it's a fictional story, yes, it's using that device of the time travel. But what I love about this is it demonstrates something that I learned when I studied a Masters of Writing and Literature, is that fiction sometimes can convey the truth better than just telling it straight. So facts and figures, we all know this, facts and figures, when you're trying to get people to donate to people in third world countries, doesn't move the heart. Telling a story moves the heart. So same thing, telling just the straight facts doesn't necessarily move the heart. But if you can tell that truth in a fictional story that moves your heart, that gives you emotion, a connection, that's what fiction does. Fiction transports you, it connects you with a story, it connects you with a fictional character, a fictional story, which brings out a truth. And that's the value of fiction. Because I used to be like, I'm a non-fiction writer. I don't do fiction. There's no value in fiction. Whereas I thought fiction was just for pure entertainment, for pure escapism, which has value. Yes, it always has value. But I didn't see that fiction also sometimes has greater value than non-fiction in being able to communicate, present, convey truth. And you could say to someone, yeah, a change of heart and a change of perspective is all you need. And that's true. But it's when you get someone to feel that and connect with that truth and see and live and breathe that truth in a fictional story that it becomes alive and real to them, and that they understand that truth because you've now lived it and you've breathed it through a fictional story. And that's the value of fiction. And I just want to leave you with that. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on these two books, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.